On today's show, taking a look at where the San Diego Padres stand at this juncture, asking some of the big questions surrounding the team going forward, including some starting pitching battles, what the heck is going on with Xander Bogaerts, and then taking just a teensy little bit of a peek at this upcoming weekend series against the Rockies. It's a Locked On Padres podcast. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Friday, May 9th. As always, I am your host, Mr. Javier Reyes here, the San Diego Padres fan from not San Diego, but New Jersey. As always, you can follow me on Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, Javiipeno. Feel free to reach out on there with any questions, comments, or concerns, and I will get back to them as soon as I can. And especially on Monday when we do the Monday mailbag show. So feel free to get your questions and comments. And before then, today's show, everybody, is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox. No console were needed or required. Headed to Amazon.com/FireTV. Locked on to learn more. Messed up a little bit. I don't know why no console needed required threw me off there. You saw that? And I want to throw it out there that you might hear from my longtime listeners, which I know that there are at least 3 of you, that I'm going to be experimenting a little bit more with the formatting of the show, including the intro. I don't know. I'm just going to be trying things out. For undisclosed reasons, we'll be trying things out over the coming weeks. But today's episode, guys, we are talking about some just big questions heading into this weekend against the Rockies, where the Padres are, just talking about where the current team stands, really. Because where the current team stands is very good, frankly, and a little bit better, I think, than what I had personally anticipated heading into the season, because there were just a lot of bad vibes, and albeit I understand that some of them changed as the Nick Pivetta signings and Jose Iglesias acquisition prove that it did change a little bit over the course of the offseason, but it's so funny to remember not too long ago that we were in like DEFCON 1, like, ultra awful standing with the Padres, especially when the Dodgers had signed Roki Sasaki. Everything looked terrible there. And then it's really funny to look at where the Padres currently stand, which is at an astoundingly impeccable record, an imposing 23-13, second place behind the Dodgers. It's funny that from that moment onward, it was just total negativity. And the Padres, while they still are behind the Dodgers, and I don't expect them to win the division, I don't think anyone does. Great sport. But it's just funny that, like, we're currently standing where the Padres have been really exciting. They've had the best bullpen in baseball. They've had some really awesome starting pitching. Tatis is fully back as an MVP candidate. And even more, speaking of Roki Sasaki, he's been a weird pitcher. Like, he hasn't been this immediate good pitcher for the Dodgers. That being said, he still would have been great on this team. Make no mistake. As a 5, my God. Or even a 4, whatever it is. And we're going to be talking, by the way, about the 5 spot in just a second, guys. Let's first start by just talking about where this Padres team currently stands in my overall view of them. In terms of the raw stats, right? Some of the basic statistics, as I swear I just heard something behind me. My apologies. My current statistics, when you look at the team's overall standing, in batting average, they are 8th in Major League Baseball with 256. In runs scored, they are 21st with 143. In home runs, they are 25th with 30. And in on-base percentage, they are 11th with a 324 rate. And then slugging percentage, 19th at 382. So what I think this tells you, and I think that there are listeners of this show who understandably are the type of people who are like, I hate the analytics freaks. You know what I mean? I don't like it when analytics takes over the game. I want just guys who get on base. Well, the Padres have done that. They have done that very well. They have Luis Ariz. Fernando Tatis Jr. is hitting better than he's ever hit before. Manny Machado is actually hitting for a really good average right now as well, currently at 306. And it's just funny that you see they are 21st in runs scored. The way I see it is this. It's not that building your team around home runs only is the way to win a World Series. I do not believe that, because I have seen too many teams that when the lights get bright, they just don't go all the way through. But it is an example of the regular season. And I think that while people love saying, I just want guys that get on base, why is it so bad just to have people who hit singles? Well, this is a good example. You guys have been talking about, and people mention, how porous this offense can be on the Padres sometimes, with it feeling like it is headed by Tatis and almost nobody else. Now, granted, it has to be mentioned, Jackson Merrill, Jay Cronenworth, and Luis Arias missed a significant amount of time, and we're only a certain amount of games through the season, so it's understandable if people are like, well, I mean, come on, man, it's only like, nearly 40 games, like, and we miss some of our big players, like, that's why our offense is down, and I agree, but it is just a little bit of a throwback for why I find it when people talk about how building for power is so not right, that you shouldn't do that. Well, I think statistics show you that you can make the postseason a lot easier when you just have some guys that even if they hit 240, if they hit you 25 home runs, that's going to be worth it, right? And I think the Padres are still a well-made, I think, lineup in a lot of ways, but they do lack a little bit of a power bat, even a flawed power bat, which is one of the reasons I've been talking about someone like Ryan Mountcastle this season so much, because I just think that he's super flawed. He's going to strike out a lot, not generate all that many walks, but decent defender, and he has potential, in my opinion, to really get back up there in the power numbers. It's just that the Orioles lineup, he just hasn't had quite the chance, it feels like, and I feel like a change of scenery might actually help Ryan Mountcastle, and I think he's been pulling the ball more, which would play better at Petco, but that's just one example. I've been obsessed with that guy lately. I don't know why, but I think that overall, this Padres team is very solid, but it's just a little bit of a reminder that sometimes when you have teams that just have these guys that hit a lot of home runs, it really helps you through the regular season. That's just kind of the era of baseball that we're in. But while I may have some criticisms about the Padres offense, their pitching has been nothing short of, dare I say, miraculous. They are 4th in Major League Baseball in ERA. They are 4th in home runs allowed. They are 3rd in WHIP. They are 2nd in batting average against. And a big part of that, as you may well know, is the bullpen. The bullpen for the Padres this year has been so obscenely good that they've basically been able to get away with, at times, really sluggish, overly reliant on El Nino offense, right? That's what it's felt like for a majority of this year. Although I think Manny Machado's gotten a little bit of flack, unfairly so. He just had a couple of slumps. But overall, this Padres team, it's been their starting pitching that has been very good, considering that Yu Darvish is injured and considering that Dylan Cease, until the Yankees series, we were like, oh no, is he going to fall apart? Is this going to be one of those rare bad in your contract years situations? No, it's not. They're still very, very good. Or he's still very, very good, I should say. And I still think that their rotation is very good. Nick Pivetta, godsend. We talked about him a lot this week. He's been amazing, and I freaking called it. And I told y'all that that was an amazing signing. I said it even before he was signed, that the Padres should go after this guy, because I just felt like he is the definition of a high upside number 3-4 in your rotation. And now he's pitching like a 2. He's just been that good. And I think the Padres got in on the ground floor. And if you're wondering how that happened, I think part of it is because, welcome to Major League Baseball, guys. Teams don't like spending. And 2, I think that the comp pick that was given up, but to acquire him, that those cheap teams really value those draft picks for 16-year-olds that might be, 1-win players in 10 years. You know what I mean? So that's just what I think is going on with how they were able to acquire him. Great contract, and probably deserves a lot of credit for swinging that. And I think it says something towards the Padres that they're able to recruit guys like this. I really do. I think that is a culture thing too. But outside, and by the way, bullpen ERA, it is only 0.1 better than Detroit actually right now. And then San Francisco is 3rd. But still, amazing bullpen so far, amazing starting pitching. That's where the Padres currently stand. But the questions going forward are very interesting. One of them being, who is going to be the 5th starter on this team? That's what I'm wondering. 4 and 5, I understand until Yu Darvish comes back. But ideally, this is a rotation that is Michael King, Dylan Cease, Nick Pivetta. Oh, we're liking that so far, right? For the most part. Number 2 has some questions, but he's been better. Yu Darvish, and then you say Randy Vasquez or Mr. Stephen Kolek. That is one of the questions, guys, amongst many or more that we're going to get into on this podcast, guys. But first, just need to take a break to talk about one of our sponsors. And that sponsor is our friends from a new place. That's right, guys. And let me tell you, it's a nice and delightful one. Let's be real. Coffee isn't just a drink, it's a ritual, a lifeline, the thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. And if that's essential, why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they'll get you a roast that you'll love. It's great, guys. It's really great. So right now, Trade is exclusively offering our customers 50% or our customer, whatever it is, whatever terminology you want to use, our customer 50% off your 1 month trial at drink.com/LockedOnMLB. 50% off your first whole month. Check that out. Why not? It's a great deal. That's TRADE, trade, like, common sports vernacular.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1 month trial. One more time, drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. Go on and check it out. And just like that, everybody, we are thriving and vibing back into this very makeshift podcast here on Friday. Of course, as always, follow me again one more time at Twitter/X and Blue Sky at Javipeno, JAVIIPENO. Let's continue talking about the questions. And that big first question is Randy Vasquez versus Stephen Kolek. The ideal rotation. Obviously, depending on Yu Darvish's health, it's still going to be these two guys. It's going to be both of them in the rotation for the time being, especially with Kyle Hart being sent back down. Maybe he's more of a project. Maybe he is this year's, this is a super lazy comparison, but like a Woo-Sok Go type, if people remember from last year, where it was a low risk signing that the Padres made, and then they figured it didn't work, and then they sent him away and whatnot. That's kind of what ended up happening. I feel bad for Woo-Sok Go because it feels like once upon a time he was a top level prospect, but injuries just completely derailed him, and he hasn't been able to do anything. In terms of Kyle Hart, I will say that just really, really quick, his last outing was pretty good, and I'm actually a little bit surprised that they sent him down after that last outing. I personally would rather see a little bit more from him than Randy Vasquez, but I understand why they're not, because one thing Randy Vasquez has done is he's been remarkably good at just keeping the ball in the ballpark. Now, don't get me wrong. I think this is going to go away because he has a 16.2% walk rate and only an 8.8% strikeout rate. That's crazy. He does not get opponents to chase. He's in the 10th percentile at chase rate. He hardly generates any whiffs. He's in the 2nd percentile in whiff rate. And everything, he doesn't throw particularly hard. The only thing with Randy Vasquez that I do like is that he does throw a cutter that I think works against lefties. I've been repeating this ad nauseum all season. And I think that to a degree, the sweeper is okay. I think it's okay, you know what I mean, as a pitch. But overall, I think that there's still a lot of tinkering that needs to be done here. I even might want to see more with the changeup. I might want to see more of the curveball. But as of right now, this is just not a pitcher. While the stuff isn't horrible, yes, he is generating very soft contact. And hard hit rate, he's in the 89th percentile, and an average exit velocity is in the 82nd percentile. So I think that's part of the reason why you've seen him have these starts where we're like, this guy's not bad. He's got an ERA of 3.9. That's really great for a fifth starter. But with his field independent pitching, with his expected ERA, it seems like that is just going to spike dramatically at some point. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be because he just gets shellacked by home runs. I think it's because he walks a batter every inning, and then you just get a single or something like that, and all of a sudden you're in danger, and he's giving free passes way too much. So I do not expect Randy Vasquez to stay. If all things are ideal, the number 5 starter in this team, I think it could be Stephen Kolek. And the reason I think it could be Stephen Kolek is because this Padres team likes this guy. Remember, last year, he wasn't particularly good. Actually, he was quite awful. Let's just be honest. He was very, very bad, granted, in very limited kind of showing last year. But he was still really bad. He had a 5.79 ERA out of the bullpen last year in 46.2 innings. He just wasn't really doing all that much, right? He wasn't doing that much, but some of the peripherals suggested that he was getting a little bit unlucky because the one thing that he does is he has a solid repertoire. 94 mile per hour or so fastball. He's got a hard sinker at 94 as well, a slider that has a decent velo of 85, and a cutter that really is good at generating multiple ground balls, similar in a way to what Randy Vasquez has done, except without the ground ball rate, right? Randy Vasquez actually doesn't have a super high ground ball rate. It's decent, but not great. I think that the raw stuff is good, and I think there's a reason that the Padres keep trotting this guy out, I think they see something in him. And with this team, I trust when they see something in some guys. So that's my big thing, is Randy Vasquez or Stephen Kolek. I think by the end of the season, it's Stephen Kolek. I just trust that he wasn't doing well last year, and they were like, we still believe in him. It's more than that. He's got a nice repertoire. He seems to have a little bit of a connection with Michael King because they throw similar stuff. I don't know if this guy's going to be a star. And frankly, Randy has produced enough for what this Padres team has needed at times. but I think overall he's the end game, at least for now, assuming there's no big trade that's made, which you can never assume when it comes to AJ Preller. Then, folks, let's talk about Xander Bogaerts. That obviously is the next big question for this team. Let's look at the batting leaders for the San Diego Padres right now. At least let's just look at overall F4. Obviously, number one, Fernando Tatis Jr., he's got a 2.3. That's tops among basically everybody in baseball. He's been one of the best players in the game. Then Manny Machado, then Jackson Merrill, which says a lot, by the way, about this Padres lineup and about what they've been able to do thus far. It says a lot. Because Jackson Merrill has a 0.9 wins above replacement mark. He's played in 12 games, and that is higher by 0.5 than Xander Bogaerts, who currently has a 93 WRC plus, by the way. He's batting 246, has a 331 on base. That's not bad, but he's only slugging 341. The thing with Xander Bogaerts is I just don't know what we can hope for at this point with Xander Bogaerts. You're just basically hoping what Rama Murdy, longtime listener, posted in this the comment section not too long ago, basically saying you gotta hope that he's a 260 or so hitter, that he can give you an above average WRC plus. Maybe he's a 110 guy at this point. That's right. I'm lowering it from my 118 that I hoped for, and then he can hit you 12 home runs and play good defense. And you just haven't got that. He's -2 and outs above average. I think he's made a lot of errors this year. He had that one disastrous series against the Rays in which he made 2 that weekend. One an infield pop-up, and I forgot what the second one was, frankly. But it's just bad, man. It's bad, bad, bad. At least with someone like Luis Arraez, who, by the way, for all the Luis Arraez people who get mad at me, he's currently negative 0.2 wins above replacement. This is because that first base defense is really bad, and also, more importantly, he needs to hit more. He just needs to hit more. He needs to get a higher on base. He's only got a 326. I think he can get better, but it has been a slow start for everybody's favorite, best hitter in baseball that everybody likes going by, right? 108 WRC plus is fine without the defense, without the speed, without the walk rate. I'm just really concerned about where this is going to overall result in. And frankly, I'm getting a vibe that the Padres are we might be done with this guy. Not at the deadline, but at the end of the year. I don't think there's any extension incoming. But Xander Bogaerts, he just doesn't hit the ball hard. He has moments when he hits the ball hard, don't get me wrong. He's not super duper low, 38.5%. It's at least better than it was in previous seasons. But he's not lifting the ball. He doesn't look like a great hitter right now. Everything's on the ground. You know what I mean? All of his hardest hits, it feels like just go on the ground. And don't get me wrong, it's better than last year, but last year was atrocious and he was also hurt. So he at least has a reason for it. But this year, man, he's not hitting sinkers well at all. It feels like if you throw him something low and outside, he's just not hitting it. If he throws anything low, it's a weakly hit ground ball. Yeah, he can hit fastballs decently. But other than that, I'm just how are you whiffing on 42% of changeups? How are you whiffing on 40% of curveballs? I don't get it. It's he can only hit stuff that is straight and on the top of the zone. I don't know what to expect, guys. And it's sad because those expectations I just mentioned for what we hope from him are not high. So that's the big question for the Padres. Can he do anything? I don't know. But I will say, I like what I've seen from Gavin Sheets this year. He's not going to have a high WAR because he's a DH and he's going to strike out a decent amount. He's not going to play all that much in the field and he sits against lefties. But he's been okay. And I think that you just have to hope that this Padres lineup gets better. And the question is, what's going to happen, speaking of Gavin Sheets, with that platoon going forward, right? This has been a question all year, but is Campusano going to be a guy? Is a trade target on the way? Is Jesus Sanchez someone that the team needs to pick up? Who else is going to bat when Gavin Sheets has to sit? Because I really do believe that Gavin Sheets has shown that he is a solid bench player who has focused a lot more on hitting, and I think that he can be pretty great. He's going to whiff a lot, don't get me wrong. But this guy's in the 93rd percentile in hard hit rate, right? He is hitting the ball hard. Average exit velo of 92.3. Now, he's not going to hit for a ton of power because he doesn't get as many barrels as he would like, but he's going to be a guy that can rip some doubles, draw a walk or two every now and then, just be a decent bat. And that's big for this team. But for the whole year, all the time, I don't know what the team's going to do. And AJ Preller has worked miracles before. Best you believe that. But I am wondering, what are they going to do, especially considering they clearly need more offense, given that I just don't know if Xander Bogaerts, you just cannot lock it in that he's even going to be an above average bat. That's how bad he's looked for all the reasons I've mentioned. And that's how bad this contract looks, right? Like, this is a actual nuclear disaster. And it's not like you can say he could be Ha-Seong Kim, where you're like, all right, Ha-Seong Kim, even when he's not hitting, he's playing great defense. Xander Bogaerts can be a good defender, not great to the point where he can outpace his lack of offense. That's what worries me. And I just don't know, with a long-term, clearly seems like a long-term debilitating wrist injury, I don't know how that's going to get fixed. I don't know. Sorry to end this segment on a dour mood, folks, but let me tell you, with these ad reads, they might just cheer you up. And you'll hear why in just a second. We'll be right back. Man, it's so funny when I don't speak correctly, folks. It is, isn't it funny? Why do I not talk correctly when I'm doing these things? But you know what is correct, folks? You know what is correct? Turning your Amazon Fire TV into an Xbox. That is an atrociously atrocious transition as I try to find the little thing at the bottom. But let me tell you guys, it is great for you if you actually have it. Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices with no console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. All my sports fans. You want to play EA College Sports? You can do that. You want to play the football club? You can do that. Or you can play some action. You can play Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. They have the latest technology for elevated playing with Wi-Fi 6/6E and auto low latency mode advanced technology. It's smoother, more responsive than ever before, and with endless entertainment as well, with more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. So let me just go check it out. Head to Amazon.com/FireTV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and compatible controller required. Available on select devices including Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube. Go check it out, folks. And also, we want you to check out our old friends. You know them very well. I don't even have to dare I say, do the ad read. I mean, I'm going to because we love them. And that's our folks at FanDuel. Because with the NBA playoffs in full swing, every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get on the action. And FanDuel makes it easier to stay in the game before tip-off and live. Player props, performance trends, and game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So what more do you need to know? And if you're new to FanDuel, don't worry. It's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. And just like that, everybody, we are thriving and most certainly vibing here on the last segment of the Locked On Padres podcast. Look, current standing of the Padres. I've been getting on this, but it's looked really good. It's just that there are questions. But frankly, I think that they are healthy questions. I think they are questions that a lot of teams have, unless you're, one of the five best teams of the last 20 years in the Dodgers, right? Like, you really have a lot of questions no matter what. But what I think is going to be interesting as well is how do they address these concerns? And it was brought up by my man Abdil on Twitter, and you might be listening to the show. And he asked, should they trade Robert Suarez for some type of bat? I forgot who it was, but they were like, should they trade Robert Suarez? I forgot who the player was that he brought up. But I think that your heart's in the right place, Abdil. I think that there needs to be a question about whether or not this Padres bullpen has some expendable pieces, if it means getting a better bat. But it's a hard question because, again, maybe this front office is like, we know and we have faith that Bogaerts is going to be a better player, and we know that, Campuzano is going to come up, or Eggy Rosario is going to come up and help that other side of the platoon, and maybe we know that we can get some outfield help as well. Maybe they have faith in some of their in-house options doing better. But if they don't, I can't immediately object with the idea that the Padres should trade one of their many awesome relievers. And by the way, they just got Sean Reynolds back. One of Ruben Niebla's favorites, dare I say. That is entirely predicated on him just liking a tweet that was hyping up Sean Reynolds. But I do think that you add him back into this. You've got Estrada, you've got Jason Adam, you've got Alec Jacob, who's, got a 2.16. His peripherals aren't great, but I do like his stuff. I do. I like his stuff. I think that he's okay. I think he could get a little bit better. But overall, you've got Yuki Matsui too, who I feel like I haven't seen in forever, by the way. Is it just me? But he's very good. I think that Randy Vasquez, if things don't go well, could be a decent bullpen guy too. Omar Cruz has made some appearances for this team. Wani Peralta has been really solid for this team at times, although he did get lit the heck up the other day. I think Kyle Hart could get brought back in a bullpen role. And then obviously you have those stars like I mentioned in Estrada, Suarez, Jason Adam. Ryan Berger came up and looked pretty good in just a few appearances. And Sean Reynolds, by the way, last year was freaking incredible. So that's actually something to look out for this weekend, by the way, if they utilize him now that he, I believe, got called back up. I could be wrong, but it looks like he did okay in AAA. Last year, 0.82 ERA, and he had an obscene 42% strikeout rate. Like, I just think, and he's 27 years old. It's not like he's too old either. I just think that, if you need to include a bullpen arm in order to buff up the rest of this team, I don't think it's an idea that can be immediately dismissed. It cannot be. It's an idea that while it would not be the only thing they give up, and I understand that you like to double down on your strengths, I get that, but I wouldn't hate it. I just don't know what team out there is going to be trading away a bat in order to get a bullpen arm that is a contender. You get what I'm saying by that? So, if you're the Orioles, why would you want Jason Adam when he's going to be a free agent after this year and he's probably going to get paid big time? I don't understand why you would want to, you know what I mean, in a package like that. It would probably have to be prospects. But if it sweetens the deal, I wouldn't mind dumping one of these guys. I don't think you can trade Estrada, right? I think Estrada's the one. I actually think Estrada's the most untouchable guy out of the bullpen. I really do. Because I think he has the most talent and he's got some control. He's been an absolute miracle find, Jeremiah Estrada. But I do think that Jason Adam, in a world where they're like, you know what, we want to sweeten the deal. We'll add a prospect and we'll give you this really, really great reliever, maybe. But if I'm a team, I'm thinking that maybe Sean Reynolds, if he does really well, maybe that's a direction you want to go. Maybe Yuki Matsui is a direction you want to go because there's more control. So we're going to have to see. But it's something that can't be dismissed outright, at least in my opinion. Although, again, I'm only bringing this up because I just don't know what prospects in the system are going to be able to be used to trade for a guy. It's going to be likely a lower tier addition or Preller goes nuts and he's like, screw it, I don't give a crap about the catcher. You know what I mean? He's like, I don't care. I'll find one. He might do that. I actually think Ethan Salas can get called up at the end of the year. It's going to be really interesting to see what pieces that I think that's my question. Isn't the bullpen, right? Isn't should they trade from bullpen? The bigger question here is, I feel like I'm Ryan Windhorst. What level are they going to go to? What can they even trade? Because I genuinely don't know. It is the ultimate gold mine, and then at the top level, and then that's it. Everything else is just barren bones. I think you can acquire a bat for basically nothing, but AJ Preller has not shown that he's interested in doing smaller moves. He almost always goes big. But I still believe that the route to go is what they did in 2023. Except this time they'll be doing it, hopefully, as buyers instead of reluctant, whatever buyers. All right, we'll just see if this works. Instead, and for those who don't remember, Garrett Cooper and G-Man Choi, I just like the thinking at that time. I don't think you can break the bank for Luis Robert. As much fun as it would be to have that guy in left field, I think it would be a blast. I really do. I think it would be incredible if you had that outfield. Maybe he's going to do it. I don't know. I mean, we know he's talked with the White Sox before. They were one of the first people in on Garrett Crochet, at least reported. I imagine that other teams were too. But reported wise, they were in on Garrett Crochet, so maybe there's a relationship there. I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. But one last thing, guys, let's talk about the pitching matchups for this weekend. They are, of course, basically all in the Padres' favor, but it starts with a freaking Friday night in Coors Field, Randy Vasquez versus Antonio Senzatella. I mean, again, this could get rough, right? In Coors Field with Randy. Do not be surprised if this game gets a little bit wild. But I will say, admittedly, hand up, I have said that Randy Vasquez is going to get lit up for a while now, and he basically just had that Detroit start, and that's it. So we'll have to see. Saturday is Stephen Kolek versus Bradley Blaylock, who I admittedly don't know much about. He's got an 8.03 ERA, not very good. And then Stephen Kolek hasn't given up a run, and he looked pretty good in his first start. Right, he struck out 4, walked 2. That was already better than anything Randy's done. And also, this is a decent, while scary, right, ballpark. I do like that he keeps the ball on the ground, at least theoretically, what he's done in the past. So maybe that could help a little bit in Coors. We'll have to see. And then Sunday's game to close out the series, we've got our guy, Nick Pivetta versus German Marquez. German Marquez, 9.9 ERA this year. It's the Rockies, so I know everyone, my faithful are listening going, oh no, that's going to come down. And it's going to come down against us. It could. And Pivetta is a guy who gives up a lot of home runs, right? At least in the greater picture, historically speaking, he does give up a lot of home runs. So I could see this being, I don't think that the Padres have too much of a pitching advantage this weekend. In Coors Field, I think Kolek is their best one, and Nick Pivetta is great. And this Rockies lineup really is putrid. And even in Coors, it seems like they're not hitting guys, right? So that is a fair retort. But I am worried about Randy, and I'm a little bit worried about Pivetta because I also don't think Pivetta is a 2.01 ERA guy. I think he's like a 3.6 guy. That's my personal belief, and which, by the way, is great, right? Remember, Dylan Cease, that's not too far off of him. I think Pivetta is going to be great. But I do think that this could be one of those starts that's a little bit weird for him. But I like him still. I like him. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I just think it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. And in general, should we still be scared of the Rockies? This team has been historically bad. They're on pace to be just as bad, if not worse, than last year's White Sox. Could you imagine that? Breaking the record of the White Sox last year? Poor Paul Holden of Locked On Rockies. It's weird, though. I wasn't expecting this. I thought the Rockies actually had some talent. Ryan McMahon, he's regressed. Jordan Beck has been their best hitter practically. What the heck is going on? I don't know, but everybody on that team has regressed, astonishingly regressed to the point where I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens, though. But without Charlie Blackmon, maybe that was the key. We'll have to see for this weekend, guys. That about does it for today's makeshift, putting together just an episode edition of the Locked On Padres podcast. Guys, remember to subscribe wherever you get your pods from. We're going to have some really fun news on the podcast in the coming weeks for sure. And if you stayed this far, I will be in San Diego next week. I will be getting in like Thursday morning, I believe, is how the time zones work. Very weird, but that's what it looks like it's going to happen. Really exciting, and I'm probably going to be on the Sunday game. I might go to 2 games, but it looks like it's the Sunday game, the 18th, against the Mariners. I think I'm going to be at that game. So if you're at that game, reach out, and maybe we can say hi if you're a fan of the show. Or you can just be like, no, I don't like you, and I don't want to see you. That's possible too. But whatever. I'm really excited to see the team in person. That should be a lot of fun. But with that all being said, guys, remember the questions for the Monday mailbag. And until next time, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My Fire Faithful homies, take care.